Welcome back to the farm, everyone. The spring that seemed like it was never going to end actually has come to an end, believe it or not. Corn's mostly been side dressed, mostly been sprayed, and we're just tying up loose ends at this point. Look at that stuff. As they say, all good things must come to an end, although I would compare this spring more to a bout of hemorrhoids than a trip to Disneyland. My commentary there may not be worth much to some of you because I have been to Disneyland, I've not experienced the other thing, just heard about it. Today we're starting off by getting the field cultivators ready for summer and winter storage. It's usually step one of the summer process. I always end up with the cushy air-conditioned tractor job. Dad is under there greasing the field cultivator. I think I'm just smarter than him. Not in like a management aspect, just in a avoiding hard work way. What can I say? We've all got our own talents. I never explained to you why this planter went down there at the end of planting season. If I recall correctly, and I'm not going to get the location right, somewhere in here between one of these row units, a power wire was pinched or broken. And it took Skylar from Alliance a good 3 hours of working to find it, but he did find it, he did get it fixed, and it worked fine after that for the last 100 acres. Cool. Corn planter's not going to be any fun to clean. We're currently making room for the field cultivators. They usually go in line here in this corner, get the corn planter out, then we'll pull the vertical till out, start backing them in. It'd be nice to have a shed where we could pull in and pull out of, not pull in and back out of. It's not that big of a deal, but it would be nice. It'll be combine time soon enough. As a matter of fact, there's wheat harvest rolling in southern Illinois, and some of the wheat fields around here look like they would cut in the next week or two. Time flies. Just trying to get everything out of the way. And we've got the conveyor back in the way. That does not help at all. I know some of you are probably curious what I think about the Command Pro after spending 20 to 30 hours this spring planting with it. It's pretty neat, a lot of functionality here. I'll be honest with you though, I don't see why you would take this over a power shift. I'd rather have all of the power to the ground. I think there's some power loss to the IVT, which isn't great, and this is okay, but also confusing. Again, if you really want the functionality, sure. I personally would rather just have a power shift. To clarify, one field cultivator is ready to be put away. The other one has been washed. It just needs the rest of the sweeps replaced, and then we like to grease them before we put them away after washing. I was not too impressed with the field cultivators this year. Challenging field conditions, and they didn't kill all the weeds. It definitely doesn't help when they're not spraying to burn down. You almost need them to get all the weeds. With almost everything out of the shed, we got plenty of room to work with, so we can basically kind of back it in here, pull up, and then get it square in the corner. Threading the needle in here. Just changing the ones that are not great.
Well,
this is in pretty good shape.
like I said, what you do is look down across there. Is what I do. See, I changed them on the other one like these. So I said it could have ran.
If it's still got a point, we might as well leave it. It's a lot more work than it should be.
It is. See, what about that point's?
Change that one.
That or not? Was he bringing the whole box up here?
There's enough in there that you have to try it on the loader.
We'll need at least 4 there in the middle. You see where he's taking them off?
Let me just throw them there too.
Over there in the middle.
Well, I know that, but
Over in the middle, that's not the middle.
yep.
See where he took them off?
All good things must come to an end. Field cultivator 2 out of 2, headed for storage. Field cultivators are usually the first spring tool that we put away for storage because any replanting we do from this point on is just going to be no-till replanting, spotting in, or like soybeans for the most part, you can just plant them without working it. And based on our experiences this year, we may look into that some more. We did it a few years ago. There's some flaws to stale seed bedding soybeans, but there's also some flaws to run the field cultivator. Second field cultivator is in and unhooked. The Cat 5 drawbar on this 9620's got like a groove horn in it, and it's a real devil to get out because it kind of catches on the lips of the tongue. We're slowly figuring out the space saver tip. Look at this, took the jack off and has some cords in here to lock it up, and we were able to get another 5 or 6 foot in there because we could run the tongue up towards the back. That's what she said. But you get my point. Back to hauling corn today, and then tomorrow we're going to try to finish the rest of the post-corn spray. Get out and look. The only bad news is that we have a lot of corn to haul. Keep us busy for the next month when we're not spraying. 2 months, 3 months. It's going to be hard on our Florida vacation. I've been told that vacations, the traditional fashion, are old news. Now young hip people are doing staycations, where you don't leave, you just don't work for a week. I don't know how well that would go over with my boss if I told him I'm not going anywhere, but I'm not working this week. I don't know if he'd accept that time off request. I just coined a new phrase on Instagram. When the bank starts a-calling, it's time to go hauling. Check this out. Got the Midland Radio MXT 500 wired up in here. This had all of the CV connections. It has the antennas. So all I really had to do was plug it in, and it's integrated to the speakers. And picking up the corn pile. Surprised they're even letting us haul today. Sometimes they shut us down when they're doing that so they can keep the pits empty. Looks like they're just getting started. They crack it open with an auger, and then they get this thing in here and just back up, and it conveyors it out. Got to be 250,000 bushels out there at least. It looks good. You know, we've got that out auger cranking out the bushels when Jeff's already meeting me on the road here. He had to have loaded in 11, 12 minutes. If we get in the right rhythm here, Jeff and I actually may not ever be at the bin site at the same time, other than lunchtime. Inevitably, though, in the next load or two, we are going to fire up the sweep auger, which that'll probably involve both of us. like 17 to 20. Got 5 more here of corn to empty. We're just working on it. It's our summer project. Got a lot of corn to haul and a tiny bit of beans left, but not much. One thing I can say without a doubt between the truck I'm used to driving and then this much newer truck is that this must have some kind of air ride suspension or something, because it feels like a Cadillac on the road compared to the other one. The one thing though is that this has the X15 Cummins. I don't think it's tuned up very high. This has a C13 Cat, and that one has noticeably more torque, pulling power. It gets up to speed quick with a load. Not like speed's really your best friend. It hurts fuel efficiency. Just something I've noticed. While we've been hauling corn, sweeping out the bin, Dad's been busy in his own right. Power washed off the vertical till, and it didn't see that many acres this spring. Doesn't really matter though, because it does not take very many acres for a vertical till to get absolutely caked in dirt. It just launches it everywhere. He spent a good portion of the afternoon working on it. Good for him. Maybe that'll help his shoulders get rejuvenated back to full operating condition. I think they treated him pretty well this spring. Hopefully they stay that way. I don't think shoulder repairs come with a warranty. Check out how clean the engine compartment is on this truck. It is crazy. Pull out. What does that do? Twist out? Oh, twist. Yellow. Today is the first day in probably 6 to 7 days where the forecasted wind is gentle enough to spray pretty carelessly all day. I'm not saying you should ever spray carelessly, but it's one thing to get a little wild with your boom when the wind is 5 miles an hour. It's another thing, even though it's technically off label, to get wild with your boom when the wind's above 10 miles an hour. You want to be careful, and today is going to be a good day to spray, I think. There's been a lot of guys spraying over the last week. First thing in the morning, the wind's usually pretty calm. Of an evening, the wind's pretty calm. During the day, it gets a little western out here on some things. It's been a weird season from that regard. Just got to be careful. Pick your battles. Don't want to get the neighbor's crop. I'm going to take this load left over from yesterday to the elevator first, because Jeff's not available until early morning. Got our grain hauled, and now we're headed to pick up a load of chemical. This will be our second to last load of corn chemical, and the next one's going to be pretty small. About done post-spraying corn. Playing my logistics carefully this morning. The first field I'm going to is one of 2 fields we farm that are within either a drinking source or a body of water, and I can't use atrazine, and we like to use atrazine with any Callisto product. It heats it up a lot. There's some synergy there. Unfortunately, because the atrazine label is restricted based on bodies of water, drinking sources, we have to follow those rules. So the first 33 acres, 34 acres is a regular lineup. We're using post, but no atrazine. I'd love to have atrazine in there because it's effective, but we got to follow the rules and regulations of the land and the label of the products. I've sprayed a lot of corn so far this season post, and this field here right north of Neoga, oh my goodness, this is our worst looking corn by far. It's just a swamp. We planted it wet, worked it wet. Everything we've done's probably not been ideal. It's not a big farm, but even a small farm that looks horrible doesn't disqualify it from the competition. We're about to finish post-spraying corn on the field I finished planting corn on here in Mattoon, right next to all the houses. This one's the one where I really needed the calm wind to spray, because the last thing I want to do is kill someone's flowers. Okay, we're done spraying corn. We're working on cleaning out. I dumped out all of the concentrated stuff into that middle mini bulk right there. This is a perfect opportunity to do some trial work, because I can take the first rinsing out of the tanker, load it into the sprayer, mix in my trial products that I'm using on corn, and then spray out a very diluted solution of herbicide and then water carrier along with these products that we're wanting to try today. This is just a super convenient time to try this. Tim Walsh, our Syngenta rep, wanted us to try some Mirvis Neo, kind of V4 to V5-ish. I might be a little late on that window, He suggested doing it with herbicide for the logistics of it. I'm just doing it now because I'm cleaning out. It's just gonna work out better this way. We did this at like V12 tassel time last year. We're trying it a little bit earlier. It's all about those logistics. Just because you can do it an extra pass doesn't mean it's worth it. I should have tried it with the herbicide, but we're gonna try it here anyways. 5 gallons of Mirabis Neo at 13.7 ounces is like 46 acres worth of product. I'm gonna do it 15 gallons an acre, so we're gonna put, let's say 700 gallons in the tank. And I'll probably just throw the Mirabis Neo in while it's bubbling up. You'll get it nice and mixed. Mirabis Neo, get the wheels greased on the corn plants, plant health, disease mitigation, best corn fungicide on the market, really. Get in there. We had a little Mirabis Neo and some Trivapro last year. This year we're 100% Mirabis Neo, corn fungicide time. That is a ways away from now, but Mirabis Neo, it's just a lights out fungicide here, especially because we deal with tar spot. And supposedly there's already tar spots showing up because we've had a lot of moisture so far this season. And even these V4, V5, V6 April planted cornfields are showing some of that tar spot that can actually take a lot of yield. Typically what Syngenta suggests is that if you're below a certain geographic threshold, you get farther south like southern Illinois, use Trivapro because it's a little better against southern rust. We see more tar spot than southern rust, although we can definitely see some southern rust as well. I have no way of telling, Dad. I don't know what the sight tubes even line up to, so.
What? Did you run the agitator?
Yeah. What?
Do I need to turn the air on or anything?
700 gallons.
How much you putting in there?
700 gallons.
Where are you spraying? 15 gallon?
Yeah, I'll spray Chamberlain. This is probably not advised, but I got the agitator running, and I've also got the precision reclaim recirculating the boom back into the tank. So when we get to the field, which is just another 3/4 of a mile to the west, we should have a nice charged boom full of this Mirabis Neo. And any of that corn herbicide should be diluted to the point where it's almost a non-event out there. We are spraying corn, so it doesn't matter. Just don't want to exceed your yearly allowances of certain chemistries, which we're not going to. Man, I love looking at those March beans. They look good. Some of you may recall, as I mentioned, we did like a V12, VT tasselless time application, earlier application of Mirabis Neo. Saw about a 10 to 11 bushel an acre bump. That's really not probably enough to justify doing it. It would cover the price of the chemistry of the application. You're just kind of splitting hairs at that point. Trying again this year just a little bit earlier. Maybe we'll see more, maybe we'll see less. Doesn't hurt to try, right? This right here is my favorite spraying. Over the top on corn, tall corn. I sprayed 37 acres on that first field, and then I went to a little smaller corn to see if the size is going to matter. And look at this Pioneer 14830Q out here, just about as good looking as it can be. Could be bigger, but we can only plant it when the ground's dry. Speaking of Pioneer and Corteva, their parent company, you've got another product to try here. Looks like a growth regulator. Again, I was supposed to do it with corn post-herbicide. I just didn't get the stars to align correctly to make that work. Unfortunately, I misjudged how much water I had in the tanker. I've only got enough water in the Hagee to spray 10 acres, and this is a 40-acre trial. So as opposed to sitting here for the rest of the night and let our old faithful well fill this up, I'm gonna leave and come back in the morning. Hopefully a lot more water than I have now. Last time when I switched from corn to beans, I just used the hose and then a regular nozzle to kind of rinse out the tank on the second rinse. This time, with the help of Dad, I just fired up the power washer and kind of hung in there and did around the sides. And you can do more damage, or good is a better way to put it, with a fraction of the time in a power washer than you can with a silly little garden hose on its own. I mean, pressure in a large volume of water makes a big difference. And this tanker on its second wash is cleaner than it was probably after the third wash last time. Volume's one thing, but actually getting some of that concentrated chemical out there, that's really important. We're back at it this morning. This is a product name I can agree on. Straightforward and to the point. Yield enhancer. Plus. Corteva product. They bought Stoller, I believe, was the biological company, and we're trying some out. I'm excited with this mix because it's got those growth enhancers, and I think there's a lot of potential for that to bump yields on both corn and soybeans on farms. I've also got a little of that Mirabis Neo out here, so we're going to get kind of a side-by-side to isolate the variable as to whether or not one has more promise than the other. I may even double some of it up just for fun. Oh boy, here we go again. This is what I get for wearing PPE. Slippery hands, and I get the entire bottle of Dawn dish soap in the tank. The sprayer tank's even harder to get stuff out of than the tanker trailer. See if we can fish it out. Borrowed this from Lenny again. Oh man. Oh, about dropped that. Ow. There you go. Nothing like solving the problem you created. I was just dumping it in here with these gloves on and just boop, right through my hands. Everyone's busy on this nice, hot, sunny summer day. Dad's washing equipment just from the tanker. Chris is mowing somewhere, allegedly. I haven't seen him. Just getting stuff done. There's Chris. He was right by us, just didn't know it. We've done our switcheroo. Time to spray some beans after cleaning out from corn. I am right next to the road. Who knows, I may take a little corn chemical in with this one just because I'm not thrilled about how much water hemp we have out here. It's a high pressure farm, lighter soil, great stand of beans, had the residual applied right after planting, so I don't understand why we have so much pressure, but we do. I try to highlight our failures and our successes, and man, this is a failure in terms of weed control. Ooh, should I go over that? I probably should. It's gonna be rough. Anyways, failures, particularly in weed control. I've got this field and another field. I have no idea why there's so much water hemp out here. It was worked, it had a residual sprayed on it. The only possible scenario I could see that unfolded is that when we worked it, we reinvigorated the water hemp seedlings, the seeds, and brought some up to the top into that germination layer before our residual chemistry could get rain activated. Maybe that's why I'm seeing it on this and another field. I mean, some of these spots, I don't know if the camera picks it up, it's fairly thick. I wouldn't call it horrendous because I've seen way more than that, but it's not pretty. It's amazing how some fields you look at and you think, wow, we're phenomenal farmers. And then you look at other fields and you think, wow, this is a disaster. This one happens to be a good field, but we've got others that I don't really know what happened to them. They don't look great either from a weed control standpoint and or they're just behind, which late planting, probably a little wet in spots when they planted, definitely part of it. The bright side of the weed control issue is that we have phenomenal weather for spraying glufosinate or Liberty. Warm, 85 degrees, clear skies, decent humidity. You're gonna get a good kill on what's up. And there's not a lot, it's just there's plants that made it through that, I don't know, maybe just the late planting and tillage issues, who knows. I want to know how this spot, which has seen millions of water hemp in its day and was planted a week earlier than the field with all the water hemp, obviously there is some here, is substantially cleaner than those other two fields I sprayed. It just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. The only thing that would make any sense is kind of what I said earlier. A lot of these fields that got planted in that first good shot had a lot of rain to incorporate and activate the residuals we're using, whereas some of those fields that I was just complaining about, maybe they didn't get enough rain to fully activate the residual. We stirred enough water hemp up though, where we got just enough rain to germinate more water hemp, and ultimately we kind of had a gap in coverage, so to speak. That's the hard part about not having a chemistry like dicamba available to us on Extend Flex beans, even though we're on list. Dicamba has a rain safe or a rainless residual, so as long as it doesn't rain, you actually get probably 7 to 10 days of residual from a full rate of dicamba, and Extend Flex beans would be perfect because you could spray that and the residual won't hurt the beans either. That's really neither here nor there, just wishful thinking that dicamba would be awesome to use if it wasn't such a pain in the butt for everyone. That's my last field of the evening. Really, that was the only one of that earlier batch of beans that needed sprayed. With the completion of that field, I'm about 40% done with soybean posts, maybe a little bit more than that. A lot of the rest of the beans are just small, and you hate to go ahead and play your hand this early because we do have products in here that provide control of growing weeds. It's just about balancing when to start controlling weeds that are out of the ground and how long it's going to be till the soybeans get to canopy. This field may be canopy here in the next week with the heat coming. It'd be nice to have a rain. Don't get to choose the weather though. I'm happy to report that we are safe and sound back at home base. Nice little crop tour on the last 15 miles home. Sunset, perfect time to look at things. When it's hot outside, don't look at your corner beans. Wait till first thing in the morning or golden hour in the evening because they always look perfect, even if they're not. We got plenty of imperfections this year. That's going to be the end of the misadventures of this video. Appreciate you all tuning in. Hope I see you in the next one. Peace!